Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today we're going to be talking about one of the most recent free agency signings, as Derrick Rose is being signed by the Memphis Grizzlies. As the Memphis Grizzlies are signing Derrick Rose to a 2-year, $6.5 million contract to put him on the Memphis Grizzlies to be the backup point guard for Ja Morant next season and be a mentor for Ja Morant. This is like crazy to me. I mean, he's a I remember going back to maybe I don't know, maybe it was Ja's rookie season or his second season. I always viewed Derrick Rose as a guy that I could I compare. I always I never said this to maybe I said it to a couple people. Not back then I I wasn't doing YouTube back then, but I always thought that and I know a lot of people do think this, that Ja Morant's comparison is Derrick Rose, obviously. Their games are similar. They're both if you like MVP Derrick Rose, they're both athletic players. Their games are just identical. And if you guys remember, like in Ja's, I don't know, maybe not. I don't think these issues started to pop up in his first season, but I think in his second and third seasons, and even his fourth season as well, Ja started to get injury problems. And I was starting to think, okay, with Ja Morant's injury problems, it's starting to look like, how bad Derrick Rose's injury problems was. And I'm like, oh, is this Derrick? I was thinking with Ja, is this Derrick Rose 2.0 with all these injuries that he's getting? And it's funny how now both of these guys are on the same team. Now Ja has a little bit more bigger problem than injuries. He has a I'm not making fun of Ja at all, because I want the best for Ja, but he's had some problems in the NBA. He's missed the first 25 games with suspension for what he did. I'm not going to talk about what he did. I'm not going to talk about anything because I don't know what's going on with him, and I don't want to assume or anything. It's none of my business. People can talk about him, but I'm just not going to do that. But what I am going to talk about is Ja Morant being a good basketball player and him needing to be healthy, not only physically, but emotionally for basketball as well. You want to get this guy back on the court physically, but you want him to be emotionally right and stable as well. And, honestly, I think Derrick Rose is a good signing for Memphis. Not only that, not only is he a good player, but I think he is a good mentor to Ja Morant. And, if Derrick Rose in his past couple years, no, he hasn't been, he hasn't had the best, he hasn't had the best couple years in the NBA, with, his age starting to show up for him. But Derrick Rose can show, Ja some stuff that, I'm not really sure, but if he can, help him with some stuff because they were both similar. Old Derrick Rose, 2011 MVP Derrick Rose, is very similar to the player Ja Morant is now. So I feel like Derrick Rose can be a great mentor to Ja Morant and help him. And not only that, but I think Derrick Rose is good for this Memphis Grizzlies team in general. As he averaged 6 points per game for the Knicks this season, we don't really know how decent a player Derrick Rose still is, because Tom Thibodeau did not play him at all, and we don't know. Is he still a decent player? Because a part of me thinks if Memphis plays him good minutes, because if we're being honest, that is not something New York was doing. If Memphis gives Rose good minutes, kind of like how when Rose was earlier when he was in New York, when Rose was in New York in the 2021 season, late in that year, and he was getting good minutes, and even maybe a little bit of the 21-22 season, he was getting good minutes, playing well, playing great off the bench. If he can be like that in Memphis, I think Rose, even though had a year where it was really bad for him because he was basically on the bench. I think there's this one stat where there's this one thing I saw where Derrick Rose he played on New Year's Eve against the Houston Rockets and then didn't play another time until March or April. So not even for 1 second. So having a year off where you're way more off the floor than you are on, and now you're on the Memphis Grizzlies and you're actually getting rotation minutes. It might be an adjustment for Derrick Rose, but I think Derrick Rose should be good for the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, I don't think Derrick Rose is going to be a starter. Some people think that Derrick Rose is going to be the starter for the Grizzlies for the first 25 games. No. No way. Marcus Smart is going to be the starting point guard for the Memphis Grizzlies for the first 25 games. And then once Ja comes back, whenever that is, Ja's going to be the starting point guard, and Marcus Smart's going to move to the 2. Even though Ja's suspended for the first 25 games, Derrick Rose is not going to start for the. I can guarantee Derrick Rose is not going to start for the Memphis Grizzlies. Derrick Rose will come off the bench as their backup point guard, probably for the whole season as their backup point guard, unless Marcus Smart and Ja are injured, or like if Marcus Smart misses a game while Ja Morant is injured, or maybe later in the season both of them are out, then yes, Rose might be starting. But I think Rose will be coming off the bench for the majority of the season for the Memphis Grizzlies next year. But besides that, of him being a good, solid backup point guard and a good mentor to Ja Morant, I really like this signing for Memphis. You guys have any thoughts on the signing as the Memphis Grizzlies have signed Derrick Rose to a 2-year, $6 million deal? That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out.